Hey algebra students, this is your teacher Miss Hesvar, and I'm here with a couple other students that you might know, with Andrew, if Andrew wants to say hi.
Hi.
You're going to talk into that camera right there. And also with Thomas, if Thomas wants to come say hi. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use Desmos. So right now we're on our login screen to Edina Apps. What you guys are going to do is log in. So if you haven't logged in already, please do so. So I'm going to log in, and these guys next to me are also going to log in, so we can kind of see what's happening. Now some of you might have already gotten into Drive, which is cool. Your Desmos onto Drive. If you haven't, I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So what you're going to do is you're going to click, if you want to see if you've got it, go to your Drive, click on the Create button, and then if it's Desmos Graphing Calculator, you can click on that, and it will open it up, because this will then allow us to do some homework that we need to do. If it's not in your Drive, what you're going to do is you're going to actually go to Desmos Graphing Calculator, like just search for it. And then you can find it here. The other thing that you can do is up here in the corner I have an apps button. If you're on a Chromebook, your Chrome apps are down on the left hand side down here where my mouse is. So you want to find your apps. If you can find the Chrome Web Store right here, it looks like a bag, a shopping bag. So you guys are down here. Yep, they're already in it, so they're doing great. What we're going to do is we're going to search Desmos in here. And when you search for it, it's going to be, it looks like this. It says Desmos Graphing Calculator. And yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the add button. If it's not, it's like a blue add button. And you're going to say add. And then it's going to pop up in your apps. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click on the icon, like double click on the icon. And then you are going to be in the graph. Now, up in the top right-hand corner. So once you get into Desmos, oops, just a second, I'm going to launch my app so I can have it. Once you get into Desmos, what you're going to do is there's a sign in button. So up here it says to create an account or sign in. I want you guys to sign in if your name isn't up there. Now, before you start typing all this stuff, we make it really easy with our connected to Google. So we're just going to sign in with our Google account. You're going to click on that, and then it's going to be like, hey, is it okay if we connect everything? It says view like your name and a couple of things about your profile, and then just say connect. So say connect, yes, all that good stuff. And then it'll show up in your Drive. So if you want to go back to your Drive and check to see if it's in your create button, it should be in there. All right, well, let's talk about what your assignment is. So your assignment is, what I want you to do is just to get to know Desmos Graphing Calculator. I want you to be able to know where the buttons are. If I say change a window, know how to do it. If I say make a table, know how to do it. So if you look at our Google Classroom, so if you need to pause the video to get to Google Classroom, you can do that. But if you are already on Google Classroom, go ahead and click on it. And in Google Classroom, there is an assignment. And it looks like we've got a couple kids that are having some trouble like figuring it out. But what we're doing is we're looking at this upcoming assignment called the Desmos Intro. So I'm going to open up this assignment. And everybody's working on it still, which is perfect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up my Drive, and I'm going to actually open up the assignment from Desmos Graphing Calculator. Oops, so let's spell it right so we can get it. All right, and here's some kids that are already doing it. Andrew, or here, let's go to the intro one. Oh man, Desmos. Let me see if I can find like the actual one. I don't know if I can, but Andrew, is it okay if I use yours?
Sure.
Oh, wait. No, okay. Let's see here. Andrew. Where'd you go? We're getting there. Okay, so here we are with Andrew's. So this is going to look a little different because as a teacher I have a little bit different editing powers, but so here's Andrew's. And Andrew's going to put his name in there. So Andrew is going to type that for us right now, and it should pop up on my screen, hopefully. Yep, there's Andrew. So he's going to type in his name. He's going to put in his period. And now what you guys need to know is you get to skip 1 through 6. So don't even worry about that. To do those things. On Google Classroom, I've created a link for you for the user guide. So for back in Classroom and you look at the assignment details up on the top, there's a link in here on the Desmos Intros, And if I click on that link, what happens is you can read through the user guide on it. It's like 10 pages long, but it's a lot of like, here's how you do it. Like add an item, hide things, hide your list, edit your list, change the color of your graph. How to enter in tables is on the second page. You can pick like the style of the graph that you want to do. There's variables and sliders. You can change your mx plus b to different numbers. That's a really cool thing. We're not going to do that yet today. Saving graphs, how to share it, and then the settings, the zooming, how to like make this happen. So there's that gear button up on top. There's adjusting the windows. There's zooming. You can even change the languages. And then they give you like some graphable expressions, things that you can graph that look kind of cool. Like I had some students doing some sine, cosine, tangent graphs the other day in class, which was awesome because they were exploring all these different ways that graphs can move. And if you just do some cool searches on like cool Desmos graphs, you can get some really neat graphs and those kinds of things that you can try out and see what they look like. Okay, so let's go back to our graphing assignment. Here we are with Andrew again. And by down here by number 8, right? So number 7 is a statement. Here's what you need to know. It says by letting y equal something, then you can show the relationship between the x variable and the y variable. So the first assignment for you to do, the first one you're going to do is graph this equation, y equals x squared minus 15x. So I'm going to go back to my graph. Here I am in my graph, and I'm going to enter it over on the left-hand side. So I can use these buttons down here that popped up, or I can just type it in. And as I start typing, you're going to see my graph start moving. Y equals, and what was it, you guys? I forgot what it was. Was it x squared? Go ahead and read it.
Y equals x squared minus 15x.
X squared minus 15x. And you're going to get really good at typing this in or putting it in. So the square button, in order to get a square, you just type in the x, and you can do a square right here. Or what you can do is if you type in x and then you hit your shift button and the number 6. What that does is it's a caret. It like shifts it up into the exponent, and then you can just write 2. So
Wait,
that's how you can make that happen as well.
I mean, no, it's just x, it's not squared at the end.
Oh, it's not squared at the end. Perfect. Okay, so here's our graph. Now, if I take a look at this graph, I can move my graph kind of this way and that way by just dragging and clicking. And right now, I'd only see like a little bit of my line. So I always tell students, right when you make a graph, zoom out a little bit. And right now, I'm just scrolling out. Okay, there's other like plus and minuses that you can do, but I'm just scrolling out. And as I'm starting to scroll out, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I've got 2 lines coming. And holy cow, this graph bends. What a weird thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about those types of graphs this year, but right now we're just looking at like how cool this one looks.
It's 80,000.
So now we're going to talk about this window. Oh, we're back at Andrew's at 80,000, zooming out. So we're going to look at this window. This window is really nice right now. We can see the whole graph. We can see where it crosses the x-axis at both points. We can see any bends in the graph, and we can see how low it goes. So this is a pretty cool window. But if you guys notice, over on this side I've got a lot of space, and over on this side I've got a lot of space. So I can make my graph fit a little bit better. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the graph settings, which is that wrench thing. So we're going to click on the graph settings, and it says that I have my x-axis is right here and my y-axis is right here. And I could even add a label, like if this was like the number of students or something. And if you guys take a look, I'll click off of here, and there it is, number of students. That's pretty cool. So it's not really the number of students, but we could add a label if we wanted to. So here's this x-axis. Right now we're at negative 93.9 is less than x is less than 143. Whoa, that's kind of crazy. What I can do to change that is just click on it, and it looks like my graph, it goes to like a negative 20 is kind of the like lower, or I could even do a negative 10 even. So we're going to try negative 10, and as soon as I type it in, my graph jumps to negative 10. I'm going to get rid of this, hide this keypad thing right here. Okay, so now I've got all this extra space over here, so maybe I only want to make my maximum of my x maybe like 20. Whoa, now the graph looks like I can really see how this curve is coming in, and I can start looking, if I start looking at this point, I can study the points. Just change your windows here. So now let's look at the y-axis. Your y-axis is kind of different. So I'm at negative 75.4. If I want like a normal number, I can just type in negative 75. And then my maximum, that looks pretty good, but I can go to like 60 or something. And then I can set, and then now I've got my graph and I can see everything really clearly. I can see my the bottom part of my graph. I can see where it's crossing the axis. And this is all this graph does, is it just makes this big U shape. So this is pretty good. All right, so I've kind of played with my window. I found my graph. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back to my Desmos graphing calculator worksheet, and it says find the best window. So my X min, that's like X minimum. So if I look at my Desmos graphing calculator, my minimum of my X is negative 10. That's over here. So if I click back over here, I'm going to say, okay, oh, Andrew's typing it in, negative 10. Perfect, Andrew. Okay, my maximum of my X-axis, where's the maximum? So let's, if we look at back at our, yeah, what would that one be? What did you have? It keeps going and going, but what's the best fit window?
Right here?
Yeah, so maybe like at what number?
15.
15 or I would even say 20 because you want to show that it keeps going up.
20.
So we're going to go back to our number and do 20. Okay, now let's look at the minimum. So what was the Y minimum?
My minimum would be
Yeah, what would be a good Y minimum window?
about
Andrew's zooming in right now, taking a look.
negative 50.
Negative 50? Well, you know, if you look at that graph,
55.
go back to that graph. Yeah, it kind of goes a little bit lower than that, right?
Maybe
So let's be
55.
safe though. Maybe even like, yeah,
Maybe
55 or 60. Yeah, or even 70, whatever, you know, one word that works. And you can check that out. Perfect. And then we just need, oh, I'll show you what Andrew's doing. He just put in negative 60. And then we need a maximum for our Y. How tall does our graph get? What's a good window to look at that? I mean, it keeps going all the way up, so we don't need a huge number, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like even in the hundreds, right? He's kind of looking at his graph. He's looking at, he's going way out.
Maybe 300 you could do?
300. So his graph, when he's looking at it, I'll show you right now, he's saying the maximum is going to be 300. So that's what his picture is looking right now.
Oh,
So we can
yeah.
see like all of that.
We're supposed to.
Yep, and now he's going to put in his other window right here, 300, yep. Now, the next part of this, it says your graph goes here. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click on the graph. So go back to your worksheet there, Andrew, for me. Oh, he's fixing his window. That's awesome. All right, Andrew, so if you go back to this worksheet, still putting it in. Here, click on this one. Don't worry about that for now. Let's go to this one. Can you double click on the right there? Okay, so he's double clicking on it, and what happens when you double click on it is you can edit it. So he's going to get rid of the your graph goes here. So if I double click on this, I don't know if it works for me as a teacher. So I'm just going to try to walk you through this part. So he's going to get rid of that text box, and once he deletes the text box, he can draw a picture. So some students were able to take a picture of their graph online and then post it on their paper, which is a really cool thing to do. But if you don't know how to do that, what you can do is on your worksheet, if you click on, there's some information up. I wonder if I can do this. Here, let me see if I can show you here. Tools. I would like to insert a drawing. Nope, I can't do it. So what you can do is you can just create a graph using some of those tools up on the top. So if you create lines for your X and Y axis and then get the curvy line in there, you can just make a sketch of it. I'm not too worried about your drawings. I just kind of want to make sure that you see the graph, and when I look at your worksheet that I kind of know like, oh, yep, you've got the right graph. Like it looks like a giant U, or maybe it looks just like a line going straight up and down. So I just want to make sure you've got what you need for it. Then you're going to clear out your graph, so you're going to go back to your Desmos graphing calculator and you're going to clear this graph out, and then you get to do another one. So this will be your next one. Okay, so you just kind of keep going through and just keep trying these things out. There's ways to enter this guy in, so just kind of be careful when you're doing the graph for number 14. There's tables that you can put in. Use your user guide to help you figure it out, but this screencast will help you out. Now, it says when you're done, click on this button, but we found out that the button doesn't work the other day. So when you're done your homework, I'm just going to show you that really quick, is right here. It is going to be...
It does work.
Oh, the button works? Oh,
Yeah,
good, the button works. I'm glad.
If you hold it.
If you hold it, or if you double click it, or if you follow the link on it, it should take you to a page that says this is what you're going to do, 1.5, 1, 2, 5 through 8, 13, and 14. And it's just questions about using a graphing calculator, like how to use it, what would be a good window, and those kinds of things. So good luck, and we will see you guys in class on Monday. Have a great weekend.